There was Hunger Games, The Maze Runner, Divergent, the Percy Jackson series, all books being created into films in the mid-2010s. But where was this gem? Blood Red Road is a post-apocalyptic story that follows the protagonist Saba on her journey to find her twin brother Lou, who has been captured. She makes many friends along the way, including her soon-to-be love interest Jack, who's a thief, but it's okay because he's hot, and the Hawks, a group of savvy girl bosses who teach her the importance of companionship and collaboration. One of my favorite parts of the story happened right at the beginning. It is so captivating that my eyes started to burn because I forgot to blink. On page 22, we see Lou and Saba encounter a storm. "Go away," I says, flapping my hands at Nero. "Shoo, you bad boy. Go find somebody else too." A dust cloud just appeared on the horizon. A blowing orange mountain of dust. It's so tall it scrapes against the sun. It's moving fast, headed straight at us. Something that makes the story so unique is the language that is used. Because it's a first-person narration from Saba's perspective, the author used that opportunity to write certain words in a way that is familiar to the character and lets the readers know what kind of accent the character might have. It's never specified what year they're living in, but because of the harsh weather conditions and the creatures that the protagonist will have to face that I will mention later, I assume that they're living in a futuristic version of the Earth when climate change is at its worst. Moore Young uses literary devices to show themes in a way that works so well for the novel. One that I frequently noticed was that free will overcomes fate. Various times in the story we see characters getting visions of the future that don't really make sense until we see them come to pass. Saba's father was presumably crazy, saying he could read the stars and knew that certain things would happen. Page 2 says, "Pa never says what he sees in the night sky, but you can see it lays heavy on him, because you can't change what's written. Even if Pa was to say what he knew, even if he was to warn you, it would still come to pass. I see the way he looks at Lou sometimes, the way he looks at me, and I wish he'd tell us what he knows." Then we see on page 28 that after Lou is taken, Saba's father asks, "Are they here? Have they come?" Then Saba realizes and she says, "You've seen this, you've read it in the stars." Oh my goodness, I love this book so much, but I kind of don't. Then he says, "Emmy, stay here. They can't be stopped, Saba. It's begun." Because of the main character's stubbornness and determination, she defies fate and chases after her brother, as she should. There's also a theme of violence and drug abuse that seem to go hand in hand, as it is a way for the antagonist and ruler of the story to claim their power by getting the citizens of Hopetown riled up on a drug named Chow and then keeping them entertained with something known as cage fighting. The story was great. I give it a 3.7 out of 5 because the method of storytelling was unique, but also kind of its downfall. We as readers know the main character isn't gonna die because they're the narrator, and our understanding of the other characters is sort of limited because we only get like a shallow surface level of their personalities based on their interactions with the main protagonist. I wanted to know what drove the opponent of the story to do what they did. What made them who they are? Instead, I got a caricature who was meant to be evil just because. Overall, Blood Red Road is pretty good, and it's probably the only novel I've read so far that's managed to kill off 2 characters in the first 40 pages of the book. Now on to Terraformars, a movie based off of the manga series written by Yu Sasuga. The film was released in 2016 and takes place in Japan. In 2097, the Earth is overpopulated and cockroaches are sent to Mars to terraform the planet, which is basically the transformation of a planet so as to resemble the Earth, especially so that it can support human life. 500 years later, the story follows the young Bonnie and Clyde-like couple who are about to get arrested for committing a crime when they are told they can be exempt from it by a mysterious man. He promises to have all charges against them dropped if they go to Mars to exterminate cockroaches. How bizarre, right? Well, they're not your average looking cockroach because they've evolved a million years due to the radiation on the planet.
Whoa, hey.
The movie is very futuristic and uses all sorts of technology, but the highlight of it has to be the scientific medical advancements that the characters have at their expense. When they find out the cockroaches are not normal, the mysterious man appears as a hologram to tell them the whole truth, which is that they're most likely going to die unless they use a special serum to help them fight against the roaches. The serum is made with the DNA of an insect and when injected into themselves gives the users enhanced powers. The visuals end up being really graphic, so I have to censor things out, but we soon learn that despite the superpowers, the cockroaches are still very strong. I can't really say I have a favorite part. A lot of the movie was quite unsettling, and you sort of just watch it and get used to the gore and accept it as the norm. But I think this is quite intentional, which is why I rate it a 6 out of 10. Because of the message it's trying to send about how we tend to underestimate the capabilities of insects. Did you know that a cockroach can survive an entire week after its head's been removed from its body? Or that it can survive an entire month without food? Also, it takes 45 minutes for a cockroach to drown, and they've already started building immunity against most pesticides. Point is, Terraformars, though quite strange, is a perfect example of human beings underestimating bugs and not fully evaluating options before they make a decision. We also see this in Blood Red Road when Saba refers to the humans living before her as wreckers. We destroyed the planet they're now living on, causing them to face devastating climates with sandstorms and other extreme weather conditions. And remember the creatures I mentioned earlier on in the video? They're called hellworms, tall serpent-like beasts with razor-sharp claws. And when Saba's asked how they came to be, she's told the wreckers dumped chemicals into the sea, which caused it to dry up, leaving behind the creatures that mutated into hellworms. Yeah. I knew nothing about Terraformars before I started watching it, so by chance, both the novel and film I decided to study have a theme that focuses on how our poor decisions as humans affect the lives of the protagonists in their stories. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!